Hello, I'm Alex Fryer with the Fury Group here at the Life Science Innovation Northwest 2014. With me here on my left is David Miller. He's portfolio manager of a public-private hedge fund headquartered here in Seattle. David, thank you so much for being with us here today.
For having me.
You know the money side of the equation here, and so you must be a man and high demand here at the conference. What are you telling people? What are the kinds of things that people are coming up to you and asking about the financial side of the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that investors really, the number one thing they want to know is how do we get money from you? It's pretty simple that way. Yeah, it's the secret. There's no secret to it. And we always tell them, hey, we're looking for good management teams. We're looking for management teams that are. We're looking for good management teams. Here, let me do this. I assume you're editing this. We're looking for good management teams, and we're looking for great science. And when you can put those two things together with with a good set of investors and great products, you can succeed.
Yeah. So, where in the parts of a company when they talk to you, what kind of proof do you want to see that they've got a good idea? How far along the development cycle are you really looking to make that investment?
That's actually a really good question. That's the other question we often get, and I think it really depends upon the science. If it's knockout science, that really knocks us back and says, hey, this could be something big. We're willing to take a shot a little earlier, perhaps, than otherwise. If it's science that's close to something else that's on the market, it's a kind of a subtle revision or something like that, then we're going to want to see strong animal data and at least initial human clinical data.
How competitive is it on your side of the fence? I mean, we know sort of the entrepreneurs here, and they all say that they're scrambling to get in front of people like you. How much are you keeping your eye on your competitors on the financial side to make sure that they're not spotting a good idea that you may have missed? And how do you do that research?
I go to a number of scientific conferences every year, and the goal is to be able to find that company, find that idea, find those data ahead of everybody else. We pay really close attention to what everybody else is doing, and oddly, I mean, even though we're all competitive, it's pretty collegial. When other VCs are putting together deals, if we've worked with them in the past, they'll give us a call. So it's competitive, but we all want to have success, and a lot of times that kind of takes a village.
And science is a national, perhaps even international, but you're here in Seattle for a reason, I assume. So why are you in Seattle?
We think Seattle's a great place for people to grow biotech. We have great infrastructure here with our public universities. We have great infrastructure here with the Fred Hutch and the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. We have world-class doctors. We have what I think is unappreciated. We have patients here who are intelligent and understanding about technology, and we think that can make a big difference for recruitment for clinical trials. It's a beautiful place to live, which we think is a recruiting advantage. There are some disadvantages to being in Seattle in that we're not as big as some of the other areas, but one of the reasons why we are so that we really want to create a successful fund, that Alpine BioVentures be successful in Seattle, is to help solve that problem.
Now, how do you see the WBBA in helping kind of convene the industry together, share information, and get them in front of people like you to bring you all into the same equation? Helpful, not helpful? Where do you see the WBBA in all this?
I think the WBBA is crucial on a couple of levels. First of all, doing stuff like Life Science Investment Northwest, where we can all get together. One of the most important things of any scientific pursuit is being able to get around other folks and talk about the science. It's amazing. I go to scientific conferences, and even though I may not see something that's specific to one of the companies that we cover or that we're invested in, I'll see something that's related, and we'll talk to them and say, hey, you guys ought to talk with these guys. And we think that's great. I think the WBBA is important for another reason, is that our lawmakers on the state and on the local level don't always understand the science and understand how this business works. They don't understand the long timelines. They don't understand how important it is to conserve cash and, frankly, the need for a lot of it. And we think the WBBA is particularly instrumental in educating our legislators. And so we actually I think through their efforts, we probably have it a little bit better here in Washington State and in Seattle than perhaps some other folks have it.
You must really want to, just as WBBA has encouraged this industry, encourage the life science industry to be healthy and vibrant as it can. Do you think there's a little disconnect there between Olympia and what's going on in Seattle in terms of this area and the other parts of the state?
Well, I think that everybody, I go down to Olympia and I talk to a lot of lawmakers on both the local and the state level, and I think every lawmaker I have talked to understands that they want more business. They understand the high dollar value that comes with biotechnology. And that doesn't matter whether they are on the east side of the state, on the west side of the state, in the Puget Sound, urban area, or outside of it. And I think that one of the things that WBBA can really do is make sure that folks outside the Puget Sound area understands that having a vibrant biotech economy helps everybody in the state.
What are you seeing here today at the Life Science Innovation Northwest Conference that has struck you, or maybe a trend that you're sort of seeing, or a question you keep getting asked? What are you getting out of the conference so far?
I think that it's 14th year. I was at the first one, so been doing this a while. I think Life Science Investment Northwest is always a great place to catch up with colleagues in the area. We laugh. I see more people from Seattle when I'm in other cities going to scientific conferences than I do here, but it's nice to see them here, along with a lot of the smaller companies, a lot of the academic researchers. It's a great kind of pollination of what we're doing here in Washington State, and something good always comes out of it.
What kind of things did you see in those 14 years since being at the first one to being at this one, and where do you see that in 5 years? What do you think the topic of conversation will be in 5 years?
Well, it was actually really interesting. We were talking about this at an event last night, and 14 years ago we were talking about gene therapy and using viruses to deliver drugs and immunotherapy. And then kind of in the middle of those 14 years, it went away. Nobody was interested in any of it. We had a company go public today that uses gene therapy to do immunotherapy that nearly doubled the amount of money that it raised. And there is nothing literally hotter in the oncology space than immunotherapy. There's nothing hotter in the therapy space in kind of orphan diseases than gene therapy. So it's all cyclical. 5 years from now, it'll probably be the same thing. I think we'll have a better understanding of oncology and how to treat it. I think that the ideas of gene therapy and immunotherapy will continue to be hot topics. Yeah,
you can see some breakthroughs on the horizon potentially. Will it be a different conversation, you think, in 5 years? Or as you said, more following the cyclical, things kind of come in and come out, get reinvented again, or seen from a different perspective and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I think that it's worthwhile mentioning that it was a Seattle company that brought the first active immunotherapy to market. And I think that type of therapy will be stronger, even stronger 5-10 years from now, as an important part of treating cancer than it is now.
David, you're part of a panel discussion later on in the conference. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about.
The panel is kind of young and hungry, how to get in, how to tips and tricks on how to get investment from venture capitalists and other folks. And I would expect that we'll chat a little bit about that, take a lot of questions from the audience. In my experience working with entrepreneurs, which I do often, they have great ideas about science and maybe not have such great ideas about how to get money out of folks or what venture capitalists really need. And so I think the group that's been put together to talk about this is a fabulous group. I'm honored and humbled to be on that panel. And I think it'll be really useful for anybody trying to raise money.
What are your top 10 or top 2 tips if you're going to talk to this group? Just give a preview.
Yeah, I think that a lot of investors or a lot of entrepreneurs get really caught up in trying to make the money side of it perfect. They will reject a deal that gives up 50% of the company because they want a deal where they keep 60% of the company. And honestly, that's a barrier to a lot of deals. As management, just needs to be realistic about this is not going to happen unless you give up this much of the company. I think the other thing is that I think that a lot of entrepreneurs don't pay as much attention to manufacturing, future commercialization, and especially the competitive environment not now, but 10 years from now when their drug is likely going to be on the market. And I think that more attention to that thinking and communicating the fact that they've thought that to venture capitalists, I think is really important.
Great. Well, David Miller, thank you so much. David Miller from Alpine BioVentures, speaking later today at the conference. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.